Hello and welcome to our newscast. I'm Daniel Choy. Let's start with our first story. It's a live connection to our reporter out in the field. The two Koreas have resumed their high-level meeting, which was adjourned in the early hours this Sunday without yielding any substantial results. For the latest, we connect to our presidential office correspondent, Choi You-sun. You-sun, officials from Seoul and Pyongyang have returned to the negotiating table, we hear.
Daniel, South Korea's presidential office has confirmed that the two sides have restarted talks at around 3:30 p.m. at the truce village of Panmunjom, which is about 2.5 hours ago. South Korea's top security advisor Kim Kwan-jin and Unification Minister Yong-pyo are now back at the negotiating table with North Korea's top military official Hwang Pyong-so and the ruling party secretary Kim Yang-gon. At around 5 a.m. earlier today, President Park Geun-hye's spokesperson Min Kyung-wook read from a statement agreed by both Koreas, saying that the high-level meeting, which had started about 10 hours earlier, had been adjourned. The spokesperson said Seoul and Pyongyang discussed a wide range of issues during the meeting to improve and develop inter-Korean relations, including ways to diffuse tensions escalated by the recent exchange of artillery fire between the two Koreas. Daniel?
Well, You-sun, the ongoing tensions in the region obviously dominated the talks. What are the key differences that the two sides can seem to agree on right now?
Well, for starters, Seoul wants Pyongyang to apologize for the recent landmine blast in the demilitarized zone that left 2 South Korean soldiers seriously injured. Seoul also wants Pyongyang's apology for the latest artillery fire that triggered the escalation of tensions between the two sides, as well as a promise of preventive measures. North Korea denies responsibility for both incidents and wants the South to stop its anti-Pyongyang broadcast, which resumed after the recent landmine attack. The two sides may exchange views on non-military issues as well, such as resuming reunions of families separated by the Korean War. It's likely North Korea will urge the South to stop its annual military exercises with the U.S., which it considers to be part of war games, and seek ways to resume inter-Korean tourism and economic projects that were suspended after a series of Pyongyang's provocations. It's difficult to predict whether the meeting of the two sides will bring about a substantial outcome. However, it's worth noting that they came to the negotiating table amid tensions and, rather than walking out of the meeting, agreed to adjourn and meet again to narrow their differences. Pyongyang has also displayed a will to renew dialogue with Seoul by sending Hwang Pyong-so, known to be North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's top military aide. It's also the first time that Seoul and Pyongyang are holding ministerial-level talks in nearly 8 years. Well, that's all I have for now. This was Choi You-sun reporting from South Korea's presidential office.
Thank you for those updates, You-sun. Well, the high-level talks between the two Koreas are underway at the truce village of Panmunjom, and hope springs eternal for South Koreans and North Koreans as well. Despite this, the South Korean military continues to be on high alert in case of any provocations. For details, we connect live to our Connie Kim at the Ministry of National Defense in Seoul. Connie, are there any signs of military tensions easing on the border?
Well, Daniel, unfortunately, no. Military tensions at the inter-Korean border remains to be at its highest alert, although high-level inter-Korean talks are taking place right now. Now, Seoul's defense ministry says the number of North Korean soldiers ready for combat in the front lines has doubled in the past 2 days. Now, in addition, 50 North Korean submarines, about 70% of its fleet, have left base and remain undetected by South Korea's radar system. Seoul's defense ministry says the rate of North Korean submarines vanishing from radar is the highest since the Korean War broke out, and may be an attempt to gain the upper hand during the high-level talks or preparation for another provocation. Now, earlier reports say that military officials in Seoul are fully aware of North Korea's combat readiness, and they say that heavy-duty artillery deployed inside the demilitarized zone on Saturday shows that Pyongyang is ready to fire at any time.
So what about South Korean military's preparations for any possible provocations from North Korea? Could you give us some specifics?
Well, South Korea remains to be on its highest alert level, especially with its loudspeaker propaganda continuing at all of its 11 loudspeakers on the border. Now, South Korean and the U.S. military remains on the second highest level of their 5-level WatchCon threat alert system. WatchCon Level 2 is issued in the case of imminent threat from the north. The Allies are utilizing their full arsenal of reconnaissance satellites, planes, and other military assets. Military officials remain vigilant of any unusual movements from North Korea, as Pyongyang has history of launching surprise attacks after agreeing to dialogue. Now, this is all I have for now. I'll be bringing more updates in our later newscast. This has been Connie Kim reporting live from South Korea's Defense Ministry.
All right, thank you for that, Connie. And it seems that the world is keenly watching whether the two Koreas will be able to ease tensions this time around. For more, let's go live to our Hwang Sung-hee at the Unification Ministry. Sung-hee, UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon called on the Koreas to diffuse tensions.
That's right, Daniel. The UN chief released a statement on Saturday welcoming the high-level talks and encouraging the two Koreas to really use this opportunity to bring down tensions on the peninsula. Secretary Ban called on the parties to redouble efforts to resolve their differences through dialogue while refraining from taking any unnecessary measures. Foreign press are also closely following the marathon talks. The Washington Post reported that the resumption of talks for a second day have temporarily eased concerns about tensions on the peninsula. The Associated Press said it's still uncertain whether the two Koreas will be able to diplomatically resolve tensions, which it views as being the highest in recent years. Some Japanese media expressed skepticism about Pyongyang's intentions, referring to speculations that the regime will fire a long-range rocket in October. But experts in South Korea are more optimistic about Seoul and Pyongyang's efforts. Those that I've talked to say that the Koreas will at least reach an agreement to ease military tensions, with some even speculating joint efforts by the two sides to maintain this unusual momentum to facilitate an inter-Korean summit. This has been Hwang Sung-hee reporting live from the Unification Ministry in Seoul.
Thank you for that alternate perspective outside looking in, Sung-hee. Moving on. North Korea has threatened to wage an all-out war while at the same time reached out to the South for talks. For a closer look at Pyongyang's contradictory approach to dealing with inter-Korean tensions, here's our Kim Yang-gon.
Pyongyang's proposal for talks was unexpected, especially in the wake of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's order to prepare for all-out war.
Our Supreme Commander has issued a quasi-state of war for our troops on the front lines.
Soon after the announcement, Pyongyang proposed high-level talks with Seoul. The following day, the two countries' security heads met for several rounds of talks, very different from Pyongyang's behavior in the past. Some experts say that North Korea has been overwhelmed by the South's counteractions. After the mine blast, masterminded by the communist regime, South Korea resumed its anti-Pyongyang broadcast for the first time in 11 years. Which experts say the North fears most. North Korea then fired off heavy artillery shells across the border, targeting anti-Pyongyang propaganda loudspeakers set up by the South, which Seoul countered with over 3 times the force. Experts say the strong counteraction taken by Seoul has been the impetus for the recent behavioral changes of North Korea.
군은 북한의 추가 도발에 대해서 한치의 빈틈도 없는 즉각 대응 태세를 유지하기를 바라고 또 상황이 발생했을 때는 선 조치 후 보고하기를 바랍니다.
Experts also say that North Korea is hesitant to act because of the annual Korea-U.S. joint exercises, WRG Freedom Guardian, currently taking place. Kim Yang-gon, Arirang News.
Longing for return to normalcy are evacuated residents living near the border, and they welcome the two Koreas' decision to hold high-level talks. The head of a village in Yeoncheon County said the residents there hope to return to their daily lives and are waiting to hear news of a breakthrough in Sunday's meeting. The meeting that started Saturday around 6:30 p.m. Korea time was adjourned early this morning. Around 300 residents living in Yeoncheon, Paju, and Gimpo County in Gyeonggi-do Province were evacuated to an emergency shelter Saturday as North Korea's ultimatum to halt the anti-Pyongyang broadcast by Saturday 5 p.m. was nearing. All fishing operations have been suspended for 3 consecutive days along South Korea's 5 westernmost islands near the border. The Public Safety Ministry said on Sunday that over 230 fishing vessels remain docked to ensure the safety of fishermen in case of provocations from the north. This comes amid rising tensions on the peninsula after the two Koreas exchanged fire following a sudden landmine attack from Pyongyang. Outside of Korea, a rehearsal for China's military parade celebrating the 70th anniversary of the country's victory over Japan in World War II took place in Beijing. Major roads were shut down on Sunday morning as soldiers marched in preparation for the massive event scheduled to take place on September 3rd. Tanks were also rolled out across Tiananmen Square and Chang'an Avenue, accompanied by aerial displays. This raises anticipation for the showcase of China's newly developed weapons at next month's parade, which includes 500 tanks, missiles, and aircrafts that will be revealed for the first time publicly. 12,000 soldiers will also march throughout the event. And that's all for now. Do join us for more at 10 p.m. Korea time. For now, thank you for watching.